All right, let's go ahead and turn to the real moneymaker for this podcast. We've done it before. We've hit some perfect weeks. We got 5 picks this week for our G5 High Five round robin here in week 9. Why don't you get us started with one that you're feeling and kind of explain your rationale behind it?
Yeah, so I teased it earlier. I think this is going to be one of the better games of the weekend, especially from a group of 5 standpoint, which is obviously all we care about. I'm taking SMU. Last I looked, they were +1 against Houston. I don't know if that has swung at all, but I'm going to take SMU probably on the money line here. Obviously, if it's +1, I'm just going to take a money line. We talked about a lot. I don't believe in the Houston defense necessarily because, like you said, they haven't played anyone. SMU is by far the best test they are going to have. Tanner Mordecai leads the country with 29 touchdowns. He's averaging 331 yards per game. And it's not just like, he's throwing it all over the yard. So obviously he racks them up. He's completing 71% of his passes. So he's been accurate and he's thrown it and he's been playing great. Sonny Dykes came out and said that he expects Bentley to be full goal this week. He's been limited the last 3 weeks. So getting Bentley back is huge to take a little bit of the pressure off Mordecai, make the defense be honest. Bentley was the AAC Rookie of the Year last year. He's averaging 7.4 yards per carry on the ground. So having him back is huge because he's the perfect complement to, as you mentioned, their 3 stud receivers, Danny Gray, Rashee Rice, Reggie Roberson, plus their tight end, Grant Calcaterra is awesome as well. So they really have 4 weapons, plus obviously Bentley. And like I said, the Houston defense, I don't fully believe in them. And SMU's defense has actually been fairly good, and especially of late, they've been playing a lot better. They're 17th in the country in rush success. And again, we talked about the standard downs in my South Alabama play. SMU is 21st in standard downs on defense, and Houston is 113th in standard downs on offense, which means that's going to lead to a lot of, 3rd and longs for Clayton Tune, who I've talked about not fully believing in him yet because 3rd and long is when SMU dials up the pass rush, and they're 14th in the country at getting after the quarterback this year. They've had a very good pass rush, and that's when Tune makes mistakes. He got 12 touchdowns this year, 6 interceptions. That's not terrible, but according to Pro Football Focus, he has just 10 big-time throws and 10 turnover-worthy plays on the year. He also has 2 fumbles that now gives him 16 in his career, which he has been a problem with, his whole career. So I just like this SMU defense to be able to hang with them. And then I think the SMU offense is way better than Houston's offense. So especially as an underdog, give me SMU. I know what everyone's going to say because I know the Bear is probably talking about it on his podcast. I know the Bear loves this stat. When an unranked team is favored against a ranked team, it has been a trap spot. I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware that the trends say play Houston because there's a reason they're favored against a ranked team. This is not just me seeing, the SMU's ranked, they have to be better. It's not. And that does make me a little nervous, but I believe in this SMU team. I'm going to back them anyway.
Yeah, I think the number is a little bit surprising. I wouldn't say it fully stinks. The number I'm going to discuss, I think, is really fishy. But when you give me an opportunity to bet on the UTEP Miners, I'm going to do it. And the fact that they're catching 11 in Boca Raton as though it's like Death Valley or something, I could not believe that this got up to double digits. Now, granted, the UTEP offense is held together with Scotch tape and Elmer's super glue. Like Hardison to Cowing is a nice connection. Their running game is used, 3 different lead backs throughout the season. They're probably not going to pop off for 35 points in this game, but there's just everything to love about this defense. There's only one other team in the country that can claim that they are top 7 against the run in yards per carry and also top 5 in completion percentage allowed. And it's Georgia and UTEP. Those are the 2 teams. So when you look at when the defensive coordinator Pavito for UTEP is certainly going to have to, head over to Home Depot, get some boxes because he's going to get a promotion this offseason. He's not long for West Texas because the work that he's done with this group is absolutely tremendous. They're going to choke out the Owl rushing attack right away. And then when the ball goes in the air, they're making people pay. I think it's more than likely that they're going to hold them under 4 touchdowns. And then I just need them to get to 17 points to get into that push win category. I believe in UTEP to be able to get that done. Honestly, I just maybe I have the minor rose-colored glasses on here, but they have not hurt us the entire season on this podcast, and I'm willing to get my heart broken because what I'm really looking for here is not just the +11. I want the win. I want to set up the colossal Texas battle between UTSA and UTEP that everyone's been clamoring for. I want as much national attention and spotlight and shine as we can get them, in that spot. So let's go ahead and pull for the Miners here. Are you going to pull Benedict Arnold like I did last week? Is this your time to jump off the raft, or are you doubling down?
God, no. Of course I'm backing our Miners. This is why we gamble. We gamble to fall in. This is why we, especially on these schools, we gamble to fall in love with the UTEPs and just blindly bet them more with our heart than with our brain. Like you said, I think the brain also does back this up, but I'll bet them I would bet them against Georgia because you just said they're in the same category, apparently. So I actually was going to do this as my underdog money line. That's how much I like them. Here's the reason I didn't. Here's the reason I stayed away. Is what you just mentioned it. Everyone is talking about if they win this game, UTEP, UTSA, college game day out in the West Texas town of El Paso. So it would be very college football for them to get smoked when everyone's like, all they got to do is win and game day is going there. It would be very college football to have them get smoked right before their biggest game ever, essentially, if you can get game day there. So that's why I was a little bit nervous, especially for the money line, to give them out on the show. I'm absolutely going to bet them because I don't care. I am nervous about that aspect, but I want to. I'm not going to be the guy sitting on the sidelines when UTEP beats FAU. So, yep, I love it. Go Miners.
All right. What else can we tack on to this G5 high five round robin?
So my next pick, do you know, obviously, besides our beloved Maction, do you know what happens on Tuesday next week?
Oh, it's election day, right?
I don't care about that. The more important. what important happens on Tuesday?
What importance is it? Let's see, November 2nd. Is it some kind of like semifinalists for major awards or something like that? Doak Walker, Walter Camp, all that stuff.
The first college football playoff rankings.
Oh, yeah, I don't care about that. That just infuriates me because they're going to put Cincinnati like 6 or something, and then everyone's going to lose their mind.
Because I'm taking Cincinnati team total over 43 because they may hang 70 on Tulane. The rankings come out Tuesday. Cincinnati sleptwalk through Navy against Navy. I don't think they're going to be thrilled with that. There was a little bit of question. Basically, if Oklahoma didn't almost choke to Kansas, they probably get jumped this week. I think they want to make sure they're number 2 in that first ranking. And what better team to do it against than this Tulane defense that is 119th against the pass? They're 119th against rushing explosiveness. They are 128th in the country, allowing yards per play and points per game. Cincinnati defense or Tulane defense, 110th in EPA per play and 110th in havoc rate. Cincinnati's offense, 41.1 points per game. Tulane's allowing 42.3 points per game. And like I said, I think they make a statement. I think we get a 50 burger here. So team total over 43. Give it to me. Cincinnati's going to have their foot on the gas this entire game, knowing what happens on Tuesday. Give me the Bearcats.
I like that play, having, successfully having watched, but, all I needed to do was sit on the couch and watch Tulane play Houston. But in terms of my bet, it did not, cash. And it was because it seems like every time that Clayton Tune rolled out and it was a fire drill, the Tulane team lost all spatial awareness whatsoever. I've never seen so many completions with a guy a few feet from the sideline where it looks like a dead giveaway that he's going to throw the ball away, and just hitting people 25 yards down the field. They made him look like Aaron Rodgers essentially outside the pocket. So I agree. I'm selling on this Tulane team. I think basically they were riding the reputation of that near miss against Oklahoma in the opener, which Oklahoma has proven to be a Jekyll and Hyde team the entire season. So it's time to cut bait on that narrative, at least that Tulane is just about ready to turn the corner. Offensively, they can't protect Pratt at all.
Pratt might not even play. Pratt's in concussion protocol.
Yeah, I mean, even if he does play, the chances of him staying in the game are pretty slim against a Cincinnati front. Like, they'll be able to get pressure with 4 or 5 guys. They don't even need to bring that extra stuff. And then when you look at Kobe Bryant and Sauce Gardner on the perimeter, they're going to eat in this game. This is really kind of a highlight NFL draft reel game for them to get right and to make some highlight reel plays. So I'm with you. I think that Cincinnati play is solid. I think the logic's solid. The only issue that I have is that sometimes Fickle pretends that like he doesn't need to politic at all for this, or that, we'll get in on our merits. Hopefully someone's in his ear to lower the boom on this game. But I think if it's going to happen, this is probably the right spot to bank on it. All right, I'll transition now to my last addition to the G5 High Five here in week 9, and that's over 64 between UVA and BYU. This is an exciting one because I had closed my eyes before I opened up the WynnBook app on this one, and I was hoping for any number short of 70. I get 64. The Cavs have scored 40 points per game across their last 4. Brennan Armstrong is incredible. When you look at their receiving core, Kemp the fourth in particular, they've been just red hot. And the other element of it, when you look at their schedule, really in the last 6 weeks, they've been scorched earth by good offenses they face. They get up 40 to Wake, 37 to Wake, 40 to Georgia Tech, 33 to Louisville, 59 to North Carolina. And UVA's run defense in particular is just awful, 113th nationally. And this is a BYU team that when you look at Pro Football Focus, their offensive line rating on the run blocking element of it, 16th nationally. And that's transitioned to Tyler Algier just pounding the football, 7 TDs, 515 yards across his last 4 games. He's going to get the ball, I would say, north of 25 times in this game. And UVA has a paper mache front 7. They're just going to get shredded. And if this turns into a shootout, I'm excited about it because Brennan Armstrong is a guy who's great playing from behind. He'll put up huge numbers. You know, the BYU defense has taken, at least in my opinion, a little bit of a half step backwards. And offensively, it's been a mixed bag because of Jaron Hall being in and out of the lineup. But if there's ever a defense to get right, it's that Wahoo defense. So I'm going to go with the over here, 64. I think this number is artificially a bit lower because of the game against Washington State last week, 21-19 for the Cougs, the Coug on Coug action there. I like over here, and I don't really see any reason to be turned off of it based on the potential of 2 good offenses and the really bad UVA defense.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, UVA also plays at like a ridiculously fast pace, so that's always helpful. That even if you get, you hope they score quick. If BYU goes 3 now, they probably get the ball back quickly anyway. So I do like that a lot as well. For my last play, I'm actually going to go with the total as well. I'm going with an under, though. I'm taking under 52 between UCF and Temple. This UCF team is just not the same without Dylan Gabriel. Obviously he got hurt against Louisville, so he's been out for 4 games. They are averaging just 24 points per game since Gabriel got hurt. They're averaging 5.1 yards per play compared to over 7 when Gabriel was in the lineup. Mikey Keene, I believe, is a true freshman. I forgot to look that up. He's really struggled. He's averaging just 5.5 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, just throwing for 126 yards per game. And Joey Gatewood is the other option. And I would love this play if Joey Gatewood came into the game. Joey Gatewood's a guy who started at Auburn, couldn't beat out freshman Bo Nix, who was not good, transferred to Kentucky, couldn't beat out Terry Wilson, I believe was the quarterback there. Right? Was that Terry Wilson? You couldn't beat up Terry Wilson at Kentucky. So if Gatewood's in, perfect, because he's really a running quarterback anyway. And, the typical UCF quick pace, score, hasn't really been that. They're 122nd in explosiveness on offense this year. So they're not going to score quick. They're going to be Mikey Keene driving them down the field. And I don't expect that. They're going to continue to lean on Isaiah Bowser in the running game. I think they're going to run the ball a lot, especially against this Temple defense that is 36th in success rate against the pass. Temple's defense has actually been surprisingly competent. And then the Temple offense has not been competent. They're 110th in success rate, 119th in finishing drives. DeJuan Mathis, I don't trust him. He's got 6 touchdowns, 4 picks on the year. He managed just 183 yards passing with 2 picks in a loss to South Florida last week. South Florida stinks. Temple's averaging just 22 points per game. The UCF defense under Gus Malzahn has been much better than we've seen in the past. Typically the UCF games are, UCF wins 63-58, but they have been a lot better. They're actually 3rd in the American in yards per play on defense behind Cincinnati and Houston. They're 46th in pass success. So, like I said, I don't trust Mathis, and the UCF defense has been pretty good against the pass. So I just see both teams really having to rely on the run here. And with 2 teams that don't have any explosiveness, I just think this is kind of going to be a slow slog of game. So give me UCF Temple under 52.
Yeah, I like that play, particularly the Bowser angle that you mentioned. It's important not to lose track of injuries and suspensions. You have targeting suspensions where you miss a half, things like that. You want to make sure you're on top of those personnel swings because you can see a team's overall identity change. And early in the season, they had kind of tied their lot to Bowser, and I think they're going to go back to that. And a great job digging into the stats. Temple is not going to make it easy for them through the air, so why not just run the ball with Bowser? So I like that.